Hello and welcome to episode
160
of Masters of the Forge. I'm Adam, and with me is Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Adam. I was thinking about our last intro.
Yeah. This time, however.
Hello, Moon.
Hello, Moon. It sure has been quite a week for me. Now, I know that you've had some troubles, but really we should think about me and what I've been going through. I'm glad that you finally have power. That's very exciting. Very exciting indeed. What have I been doing in the hobby? Hobby progress. Let's do this.
We're gonna be living off of your hobby progress. Boy, we are. I feel. Yeah. Okay, go for it, man.
Yeah,
hit me.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
So the decal worked really well for the 100 Space Marines cabinet. If you recall from the last episode, the stencil did not work out so well, but Shauna came over and she helped me apply the decal, and that's way better. I'm still waiting on the Canada shipment for the rest of the Space Marines. Now, I know I'm not going to have to touch those ones up, so I should have already started touching these up because those ones coming from him are not going to need to be touched up. So I probably should, put everything aside and start working on that, but I haven't.
Well, you've got your... Wait, do you talk about that? You've got your resin printer, so I mean, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun toy. And I've been having fun with it. I printed up the Gloriana class Grand Cruiser for your fleet. That should be finished. Well, it's finished being built. So here's the thing. So you build those really big pieces, you build them hollow. Even if they're solid in the 3D model, the printing software will go through and make and hollow it out for you so it's lighter and doesn't use as much resin.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. But I didn't realize that what you should do is burrow a few holes in the model, like in the bottom, or at least one hole, so that you can drain out whatever leftover liquid resin is in that hole. So it's not like... Yeah, it's upside down when it prints. So for the most part, there's not much in there.
Right.
But there is still some kind of clinging to the walls. And so after it's had the final closed up, there's gravity pulls down on the stuff in the walls and it kind of pools. So I drilled a hole for the post for the base.
Oh.
And and liquid resin starts oozing out. I'm like, of course I'm covered in it. I will never avoid this liquid resin. It just wants to absorb itself in my skin. Anyway, so there's that. So keep that in mind if the post ever falls off or anything like that. Okay. That's gonna be shipped to Texas, so I'm gonna hold off on shipping that for the time being for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I got a Marvel Crisis Protocol Carol Danvers off of eBay for my cousin Cassie. She bought a new house, so I thought I'd send her a housewarming gift. I thought I was going to have to send her a propane heater for a kerosene heater as a housewarming gift, actually.
Where she is? Yeah.
Right? But instead... I painted up some Carol Danvers, the Captain Marvel. That's also going to have to go to Texas. So again, I'll hold off on the shipment for now.
I'd hold off for I don't know. I'm okay where I am, unless I want to get groceries. Because.
I mean, I hear they're throwing groceries away, and the police are guarding the garbage. What's up with that? Anyways, that's weird. I printed I also printed for my coworker a "Everything is Fine" dog meme.
I saw that. That's awesome.
That's so cool. It's a little statue of the "Everything is Fine" dog in the fire. It's great. He's like, "Where do you get the paints for that?" I told him he would probably have to spend $30 on Games Workshop paints to paint that. I'm gonna offer to just paint it for him. Screw it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been talking to Flipside back and forth about these Def Dreads. I told them, listen, just cancel the Def Dreads. I will just buy 4 getting started boxes that have Def Dreads in them.
Okay.
Now
you'll have a lot of boys, but
yeah. Well, ostensibly, I would sell the boys on eBay or something. But
we know that's not going to happen.
Let's be real. They'll probably just end up having 44 more boys and 20 more knobs and 4 pain boys. Probably not 4 pain boys. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can probably get rid of a couple of those.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I've already got 2.
Oh, well, then
I'll paint one of the new ones and sell the other 2. And I mean, keeping it 100, I have so many knobs right now. I really don't see and also a lot of boys too. So maybe I'll think about doing some kind of interesting print project where the boys have some kind of interesting head swaps or something. We'll see.
Oh, that could work.
Yeah, it is. Maybe I will just have a squad of boys for the Dread Mob, and maybe they'll have some cybernetic parts or something like that.
Oh yeah, that might be a really good idea.
Yeah, some cyber boys, or what do they call them? I don't know I forget what they're called. Cyborg bodies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you should do that. That'd be pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that. I also last night I wrapped up printing a bunch of armor plates for the Dread Mob. So I did a few engines and a few exhaust pipes, but mainly I did a bunch of shoulder pads and knee pads because I know that the Def Dread kits aren't going to have enough to go around for all 9 Def Dreads. And I can manufacture some with Plasticard, but there are some cool 3D prints out there that are way easier than doing a bunch of Plasticard. So I did that. Those are going to look cool. So one of the things I have coming up is I commissioned a paint over for my looted like a photograph of my looted Thunderhawk.
Yeah. By
Artist Empire. He is on Twitter and on YouTube. He does these paint overs of people's miniatures. And he kind of puts them in. So you know how the old Forge World books had pictures of the miniatures, but they're in like realistic scenes. Yeah, they're kind of retouched by computers. Like the graphic designer goes in and touches them up and makes them look like they're in real life.
Yeah.
That's what this guy does.
Oh.
Yeah. So I paid like $70, and he's gonna sit down and make it look like my Thunderhawk and his wingman are flying through a war zone.
Oh, awesome!
And he gives you the super high res picture of it, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of dudes that I wouldn't mind. A couple of models I wouldn't mind having.
Right. He also has a Patreon that he'll like randomly select or decide to select from and do and paint over for that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a look. It's Artists Empire over on Twitter. He does some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I had a thought today and I forgot to put it in here, but I'm sure whatever it is, will rear its head while you're talking or something.
It'll show up. Yeah.
It'll show up, whatever it is. Oh, that's it. I already figured it out. Brandon had a plastic 3D printer that he had in his basement, and he decided he wanted to just move it to my house, not only for me to use, but also it's really close down there and wet. So the wet is bad for the machine, and the close is bad because he's like 7 feet tall. So as long as he can come over and print whatever he wants, I can just print whatever I want. So that'll be good. The plastic one will be really good for printing terrain and things like that.
Ooh, yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
that'll be good. So that'll be projects going forward. For now, though, I need to focus on getting the 100 Space Marines done. And then after that, around the start of March, the Dread Mob will begin in earnest. So, Jason, I assume you have lots of hobby progress because I can't, I don't want to hear any excuses from you, sir.
So I do have some hobby progress before the lights went out in Texas. God, you guys just wait for my Beyond the Fringe. It's going to be lovely. All right, so I primed the Adeptus Titanicus knights that I have built, which is just the were they the Questores? Hold on,
Cerastus Archeron.
There we go. Yeah, those. So I've primed those, kind of taking a look at them. I had already hand painted a whole bunch of Skitarii and whatnot in the colors, and I think that they'll translate pretty well, or I hope they'll translate pretty well. So I was actually going to start painting those today, but I started doing the notes, my part of the show notes, and I thought, you know what, I need a nap. So I took a nap, so I didn't paint. Haha. All right. So those are primed. And then I primed and base coated, let's see, the Hammerfall bunker, the repulsor. That repulsor has been on my build. Like, I think I finished building it a couple of months ago and I just never primed it. The Eradicators, the ATV model, the name I never remember, and some other random stuff from the Indominus box. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. Just a good prime and then a base coat, which I keep forgetting how easy it is now to base coat for the Blood Ravens with the airbrush. And it's just so much easier than it used to be with the terrain brush that I used to use.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about it. Oh no, wait, hold on. The did it come in last time or no, I just ordered it? What's it called? The mini case that I got from Table War came in, and that's pretty sweet. I haven't had a chance to mess with it because it came in like the day or two before the lights went out, and then basically it sat in my office where I couldn't see it. So that was pretty cool. So how about games played, Adam? You're what you got? Anything?
No. Like I tried playing Battlefleet Gothic Armada. Like I was like, let's try this because I finished Kingmaker, right? Yeah. And I tried playing it. It's so hard.
Okay.
Like I can't operate the controls. I'm terrible at real-time strategy. So I gave up on that for the second time. I will not try that again. I'm waiting for I put in to do the 40K Battle Sector beta. Okay. I'm hoping I get selected for that. So it's turn-based, large scale 40K. I guess what is it? Slytherin. So they've done 40K stuff in the past.
Yeah,
and I think they did they did the Space Wolf one, and then the Necrons versus AdMech one, which is out there. And those are all turn-based. I assume they're like kind of taking what they learned from that and doing this. Okay. So that's something I'm excited for, and I hope is good. So I'm looking to that. But I haven't really played any games. I I might have talked about the game I had with one of our Death Guard players that we did a podcast for, but that's really it. I really haven't done anything lately, even on Tabletop Simulator. I'm going to try to get a game in. We need to get a game in, to be honest.
Yeah, we do. This would have been a great week to have gotten a game in, but I didn't have power, so, Okay. Let's see. What did I do? I picked up Dawn of War 2 and 1 because I've never even played those games, which I know with my extensive Bloodraven army that is an odd thing to hear, but I've never done it. So, and I did pick up that Mechanicas. I think that's the one you were talking about. That's Mechanicas versus Necrons.
Yeah.
So I haven't played them yet because wait, what?
Play it and let me know if I want to buy it.
Okay, we'll do. I ordered it, I think, the night before the weather got bad. And the reason I ordered it was just like, I know that classes are going to get canceled for like a day or two, or maybe even 3 with how bad the weather was supposed to be. I didn't realize that I was going to be stuck hanging out in my apartment for that time. Just, yeah. Yeah, it's been a week, man. Okay, let's hit beyond the... go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay, hold on. Me. Here we go. We have a transmission incoming. Attention! You are trespassing beyond the fringe! Turn back! Danger! Turn back! Danger! Anyways. Sure. My Beyond the Fringe is housework. We're doing home improvements. We did the porch last year, and that was really successful. We're really happy with it. But it
looks really nice. It looks really nice.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And it is nice. We've actually been out there past few days because it's been like 18 degrees out, but Fahrenheit. But the porch has been 85 in the afternoon because of the greenhouse effect. So we're very happy with that decision. It's been very comfortable. Quinn likes going out there and watching the cars go back and forth. So we're doing, I replaced the hood over our stove, and I put like a stainless steel backsplash there. It looks super nice. And our kitchen is like, it has like a normal, it's an old house, right? So the ceiling height is but we're putting a fan over our kitchen table. And my brother-in-law comes in, he's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to put a fan there?" And we're like, "Why? What's the big deal?" And he just looks at us, and the kid's head, if he ever goes over there while the fan's going, he's gonna be decapitated. So but we're still putting it in. I don't care. Anyways, so there's that. So we're going to be doing a lot of housework, and I think it's going to look nice. What's your Beyond the Fringe, Jason?
So my Beyond the Fringe is electricity. And I would love to thank Ergot.
I would like to thank Ergot.
There we go. Yeah. I can't even be witty about these jerks. Want to thank them for, I'm not even sure what they did to the Texas grid. At some point, it's
literally
just like
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nothing, or they looted whatever they could, or didn't do the things they were supposed to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, exactly. They didn't do anything. Therefore it broke.
So I spent almost 6 full days, just about 6 hours short without power, which, basically about led me to declaring Exterminatus on my fridge.
Yeah, that was necessary. I hope that you purged well.
If this had been my fridge, if I had owned this refrigerator, I would literally have duct taped the doors shut and just moved it to the curb and said, "You guys deal with this. I'm not." But I have cleaned it. This is actually the second time I've had to clear my fridge in 6 months because of ergot. First was Hurricane Hannah, which knocked my electricity out for like 2 or 3 days, if I remember right. That was cool. So my freezer's empty again, which is kind of cool. Actually clearing out the freezer was kind of gross. Like, it's stuff that is supposed to be frozen, but it's like soggy. Yeah, that's not a cool thing. Not a cool thing at all. So my Beyond the Fringe is electricity with a middle finger to ergot. So yeah.
Well, ergo, it's time to move on. I'm going to say ergo a lot this episode.
That's fine. Works for me, man. Anything we can to kick those guys.
We do have some to talk about. The new kill team is on its way to me as we speak, so we'll cover it as soon as we can. If you're expecting us to react like, I don't know, half of the comment sections across the internet, you might want to tune that one out because, geez, oh Pete, I don't think that much negativity is possible in podcast format. People are freaking losing their damn minds over this thing. Like the kill team box is a personal affront to their existence by Games Workshop, and I don't know. I thought it was just
an update to the arena rule set.
It's pretty much it's an arena style. Okay. It's an arena style game because it doesn't have like big terrain in it. It just has like doors and some like obstacles, some Necron doors and obstacles in it. And the board itself is like a Zone Mortalis board.
Yeah, so it's basically the arena box redone. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the flayed ones and the heavy intercessors don't have a standalone box yet, so the only way to get it for now will be the heavy intercessors and the flayed ones. So I don't know how long it's going to take to put out an actual box, but I guess if you really wanted one, having to wait is a bummer. Just don't buy it. If you don't want to buy this box, don't buy it. Also, if you're playing games of Warhammer, lucky you, proxy it, whatever. Yeah. If you need it for a tournament, don't go to the tournament because COVID. Yeah. So, or you're in Australia and you're used to being screwed by a GW anyway. So what's the point? Oh, boo! I feel sorry for you that you have a competent country. I'm just saying, it could be worse.
Yeah,
I mean, could be worse. Okay. Anyways, Kill Team's on its way. We'll review it when it comes. Yep. Maybe we'll like play one of the missions on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think that would be fun. I'm sure I could use some of the dungeon like the D&D dungeon tiles that they have.
Oh yeah.
Cuz it's really like the D&D dungeon tiles are very modular. So I'm sure I could duplicate whatever comes in that box in D&D format. We could play that. That'd be fun. I remember TTS, that one Kill Team, that one Zone Mortalis game was a little rough. Mm-hmm. But hopefully using terrain that is specifically intended to be used as a dungeon style will be a little more easy to use. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that the original arena rules that they did for Kill Team were there to balance the game so that you could actually use it for tournament play, which is what I assume that this new box is. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like the updated Primaris and Necron rules and stuff like that. I don't know. It's not like a second edition or anything. Curse City looks awesome, right? Like,
dude.
Oof.
Oh man.
Oof.
Oh. The Ink 28 Facebook group.
Yeah.
Man, those pictures came out and were just like, this guy's a rogue trader. He's perfect. We just need to change the barrel on his gun. And that was literally what they were saying. It's like minor stuff. Hey, let's add something here to make it look more like, like it might need a las pack or something. But the what is it? The buzzards are already circling, man.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people buying that just for the minis, which is interesting because, with Blackstone, like I've got the minis. I didn't mod any of them because I just didn't. Yeah. And we played that game a lot. So
yeah, it's not necessary, to be perfectly honest. Those models are amazing. Yep. So, I want it. I don't know if I will, after spending like $300-$400 on the Dread Mob. I don't think I could pay for that at this point, but I might pick it up sometime in the future. It's a gorgeous box. Get it if you can, for real.
I think that my group is getting it. So
that's cool. You know, if you can all go in on it, why not? That would be a good way to go. If you have that one friend who's really good at painting quickly and painting well, why don't the 3 or 4 friends get together, buy it for them with the intent of you have to paint it if we buy it for you type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a feeling that that's probably I think I'm probably going to buy my own so I can mod these guys for stuff, but and I think one of the other guys is as well, but
right.
But we can probably just get one that's for the store or something, just to have it there. So that'd be pretty nice.
All right, dude. Let's take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the Lion and the Wolf.
The Lion, the Wolf, and the Wardrobe.
Shut up.
Come here, boy. Get the ball. Come on, Max. Get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him his Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy. I'd better feed Max his Zotabix.
Yes, you had.
Zotabix is made in part from grade A Astra Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins and minerals harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert deserts. Zotabix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Welcome back. So, a lot of folks are talking about Dark Angels right now, both in the lore and on your tabletop. Today, we decided to focus on one aspect of the Dark Angels. Did I say Space Wolves? Whatever. A lot of people are talking about Dark Angels right now. We decided to focus on this one aspect, Space Wolves, and the relationship between the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels. And I chose this partially because I want to highlight how important the unreliable narrator is in 40K. Some people think it's lazy. It's a way for GW to magic wand hand wave at inconsistencies in the lore. Maybe it is. It's a huge, expansive, there's a lot of lore, the setting is impossibly huge. It's the entire galaxy, right? And the entire galaxy is populated. It's not like it's all dark frontier. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of meat, and so sure, maybe it is a way to do hand waving, but who cares? It's well-established way of doing your hand waving because it's intentionally worked into the lore. If you look at the differences between events as they unfolded from the point of view of the Dark Angels and events as they unfolded from the point of view of the Space Wolves, those differences are well documented in these two books, or well, at least every era of these two books, like as these codexes progressed. And it's not on accident. It is done very intentionally. How the perspective is different between the two groups.
Yeah.
So if this is your first time joining us, keep in mind we do have a scripted response method of doing our lore. We have a script that we follow that we wrote, and we respond in a ad hoc piecemeal way. So we are not copying and reading directly from the wikis like some people do. This is our own kind of we do a kind of a little research project prior to the episode as our show notes.
I brought in the Crusade book from the Horus Heresy for part of mine.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm really when we get to that part, I'm going to get excited. I'm going to tell you that already.
All right, cool.
It's really cool. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I'll start it off. So the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves have this long rivalry that goes back to the time of the Crusade. Primarchs Lionel Johnson and Lehman Russ could not be more different from one another. They're two chapters. While still brothers as Astartes, are as distant as allies could possibly be. And there's, in the past, there's a lot of infighting in a lot of the old lore. They were kind of blasé about Space Marines killing Space Marines sometimes.
Well, they made them so much easier back in the in the Heresy era or the pre-Heresy era.
Yeah. So Codex Space Marines describe the Dark Angels as follows, and this is a quote. The Dark Angel's name is held equally in awe and fear by those they fight for and against. That's unfortunate. Okay, that part's not a quote, but that's unfortunate, for any normal poor human being who might witness something that happens. Anyways, they are not regarded in the same light as their brothers in the Ultramarines or the Blood Angels. Those two are both guardian angels coming from heaven to save you from chaos or Xenos or whatever. Yeah. Or in the case of the Ultramarines, oh, thank goodness someone's here to do all the paperwork.
Civilization.
we're literally buried in paperwork. Someone's here to finish it in a month. Anyways, they are famed less for their honor and nobility than their unsettling demeanor, taciturn manner, inscrutability, and solemnity. So here's where we learn that Games Workshop does not write to the standard 7th grade level, but instead they go for bigger words. So the Codex also says that they are staunch defenders of mankind, merciless in the attack, and stubborn in the defense. Sometimes these descriptions of chapters read kind of like you feel like it could be applied to any chapter, but they're a bit more static in they're more like this implacable enemy, unlike the Imperial Fists, who are they're more garrisoners. Like they stand on walls and shoot you. Right. The Dark Angels have an implacable advance, and then they have some combined arms to go along with it.
So it's turtling versus come at me, bro.
They are definitely more of a come at me, bro type situation. And they do have a very deliberate approach to warfare. Yeah. So it's not like, they have the Ravenwing, but they're not like the White Scars, which are a lightning strike. The White Scars might be a little less deliberate. They're not stupid and they're not reckless, but they are more reactive. Right. Where the Dark Angels, they have a plan and they stick to it. And that's a lot like we'll talk more about kind of how the Lion did things, and that's kind of how the Lion was. The Lion was very, let's make a plan and stick to it. Yeah. The unfortunate part is they didn't always let the other chapters in on the other legions in on their plans, which has caused problems in the past.
Yeah, just a wee bit. All right, so now in contrast, the Space Wolves are, for our 30k cohorts, the Rout. Don't even try and get me to pronounce the other word or the other name. They're described as this: the chapters of Brotherhood of Heroes, hungry for glory and dedicated to defending the Imperium. Seeking to forge their sagas for honor, Space Wolves eagerly face down the most powerful enemies with ferocious snarls. End quote. Their combat doctrine is described with words like savagery and aggression, which, as you said before, that can be used to describe just about, almost any space or any Space Marine Legion and or chapter. But they, of course,
they take it to
11. Yeah. So, in summary, the Dark Angels prefer a more measured and calculated demeanor, while the Space Wolves are boisterous and savage. While these attitudes are demonstrated off the field as well as on the field, their chapter tactics do a great job of describing the differences between these two factions. For the Dark Angels, Grim Resolve allows them to add 1 to their hit rolls if they stand still and automatically pass combat attrition tests. Which I like that one. They are stoic. They're stoic and movable force. And for Space Wolves, they get +1 to hit in charge, countercharge situations, and they may all perform heroic interventions. So Space Wolves are fierce when on the move and leap into the thick of battle without hesitation.
Right. So usually we don't get into the rules so early on, like when we're talking about the lore, but I felt like in this case, the rules really did help describe their demeanor very well. The Dark Angels get bonuses when they're standing still, and they can't be shaken by morale, and the Space Wolves get bonuses when they are on the move or attacking. So,
What's interesting?
That made a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, that does make a lot of sense because I mean, you could also see that as sorry to bring up this 30K viewpoint. Just because I do like that game. There's some really cool stuff.
Both of these chapters are pretty much legions when you think about it. Yeah, they are. So there's nothing, and they haven't really changed much over 10,000 years, unlike some of the others. So feel free to invoke 30K whenever you want here.
Oh, good. Then for those of you who are not into it, I totally apologize now. And I'm going to have to apologize whenever I get some of these rules wrong because it's been a while. One of the really cool rules I always have dug from 30K, which is extremely situational, was Fury of the Legion, where if they're standing still, they can just double out. Is it double output? Basically, they can just kind of overcharge all their firing. Yeah. And what it does is it runs out their ammo for one turn. Maybe not run out their ammo, but they can't fire the next turn. But that kind of reminds me of this idea of them being able to be stoic, and if they're not moving, they get that, what was it, the +1 to their hit rolls, which seems like a big callback to 30K. So that's kind of cool. I mean, every once in a while I see some rules that are being floated for the Space Marines and actually other factions that kind of call back to those 30K rules. Like they're almost testing stuff to see, well, there's this really great idea that, Alan did years ago. Let's see if this will work. So anyway, sorry, keep going. I apologize.
So of course, while the demeanor of both the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves may be genuine to a degree, so their outward-facing selves are genuine, like most chapters, they also are both hiding something. They just do it differently. For example, the Dark Angels, they obfuscate their records with meticulous care. And they pander to the Imperium's hunger for constant stream of fresh material for successor chapters. I don't know. They're unlike different from many other legions. They actually kind of keep very close tabs on their successor chapters.
Yeah, they do.
Very, very close tabs. They're pretty much a legion. Anyways, the Space Wolves, by contrast, simply balk at the very concept of record keeping, and heaven forbid paperwork, at least beyond the usual oral tradition of the Space Wolf sagas. So you don't have to worry about falsifying records if you don't have any records to speak of. So we could argue which method of obfuscation is more effective, but in reality, no facade can reliably maintain 10 millennia of erosion.
Yeah.
Someone's going to find out. And in the case of these two groups, sometimes it's a race to see who can be exposed first. This is kind of what happens later. We'll talk about that later. So the two chapters may have a go at uncovering each other's secrets if given half a chance, but time and again, Space Wolves and Dark Angels have gotten close to something tangible, but the risk of exposing their own sins has caused them to tack away from the opportunity. Still, conflict has been a hallmark of their relationship for millennia. And it all started with their Primarchs on the world of Dulan during the Great Crusade, when the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels met for the very first time.
I need to read that part of the of this this new Black book, the Horse Heresy book that came out, because I haven't finished reading it yet. All right, so the well-known tale of the battle between the wolf and the lion was spun in the second edition Space Wolves Codex. Since little remains of the Dark Angels and the legends of the Horse Heresy, the reckoning of this fight is left to the Space Wolf historians only. In that text, it is said that Lionel Johnson, and his Dark Angels were fighting alongside the wolves when Johnson broke ranks and wiped out the enemy, but left the wolves' flanks unguarded, and many wolves were slain. Russ and Johnson tried to kill each other, but fought to exhaustion because they're both Primarchs and they were unable to finish the job. They did swear vengeance upon each other and went their separate ways. Still, they fought each other several times, hence to no conclusion. To this day, the second edition claims the Wolves and the Dark Angels have fought beside one another and against each other many times. Then, in the 6th edition Dark Angels Codex, which I actually have right next to me, that was my first codex that I purchased. So, wow. I'm just kind of looking at it and thinking, you've been with me since the beginning. This is so weird. Okay. So, 6th edition Dark Angels Codex insists that Russ was jealous of the Lion's victories and was eager to show his brother up. Regardless of whether this is true or not, the tale recounted that there tells Johnson already had a plan of attack laid out and didn't bother to tell his brother about it, which is so Dark Angels,
We've already got this really meticulous plan all set up, ready to go. We're going to enact it. Shouldn't we tell the Space Wolves? Why?
Nah. Yeah.
No.
Nah. That is not. Yeah.
It's like, this is like that meme where the guy shoots the guy sitting in the chair.
Uh-huh.
And the guy sitting in the chair is, the
state of Texas, and he's the
right. Ergo.
There you go.
No, the guy doing the shooting is the Dark Angels, and the Space Wolves are the ones in the chair. And the Dark Angels are like, why would the Space Wolves do this? Right? Like,
yeah. Yep. All right. So in this story, Russ is portrayed as an annoying dog nipping at the heels of Johnson. And Johnson's portrayed as the alpha of the pack and somewhat aloof to Russ's bombacity. In this recounting, the wolf and his men don't contribute anything to the battle, likely because single-minded Dark Angels never even acknowledged the wolves were even there until Russ bellowed a howl. After an argument, Russ struck the lion, and the lion returned the favor. The Primarchs fought for a day and a night, with Russ being a bit stronger and the lion being a bit faster. They were evenly matched. They knew each other and themselves so well that the battle could not be won by either warrior. The tale says there was the realization that Russ was struck by the comedy of all and burst out laughing. As such, the lion saw this as an opportunity to knock the wolf unconscious. Which, this is on brand for the lion. I mean, this...
Yeah.
That could be
why are you laughing? I'm just going to hit you.
To this day, the feud continues, and in this version of the story, when the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels come together, they will nominate a hero to play proxy to their Primarch, and they hold a ceremonial battle between the warriors. So this is, like I said, this is the first codex I bought. And I remembered that story really well because I thought it was hilarious and ridiculous at the exact same time,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was really funny. Yeah. And it's alluded to in some of the other codexes. I think the 3rd edition codex didn't have anything because 3rd edition was terrible, apparently, like we talked about a couple episodes ago. So, of course, the 7th edition Space Wolves Codex has a bit to say on the fight between Russ and the lion.
Yeah.
This new text reiterates that the chapters were clearly fighting alongside one another, which... the previous codex, the Dark Angels one really doesn't imply. And the Dark Angels were the ones who had broken ranks. The new text does stress that the loss of life among the Space Wolves was very unfortunate, of course, which again was kind of ignored by the Dark Angels side of the story. But that really didn't matter to the Space Wolves. Like, people are going to die. It's fine. What really pissed them off was that L. Johnson had rushed ahead to claim glory for himself. Never mind, a bunch of people died. How dare you take the credit for this or try to steal glory from us? Yeah, how dare you? which again, very on brand for the Space Wolves. I really thought that was a funny part, and that it really pissed off Russ. And in this version, Russ almost immediately flew at Johnson in a blind rage. Now, in the second edition book, it's like they smacked each other in kind of like a duel. I challenge you to a duel. I accept. And all the Dark Angels and Space Wolves kind of cleared chairs out of the way so they could fight.
Yeah.
In this, Russ just went at him. Older reckonings had them more. This be more ceremonial in nature, but both books say that the Primarchs fought each other many times after that, and they eventually kind of became friends in a way, with this more of a friendly rivalry, which is really cool. But also somewhat tragic, the chapters have grown apart. They've come to mistrust each other more and more over the millennia. They do still fight their ceremonial battle when they do work together. Because, with Space Marines, it's kind of a monastic brotherhood, and ceremony is very important. The Dark Angels have a lot of ceremonies that they, much like the Blood Angels, they have very, lawful, neutral aspect to them when it comes to ceremony. And the Space Wolves too. They have their own more animalistic ceremonies, but they have their ceremonial bent. So both sides kind of appreciate this ceremonial battle. Do note that the 7th edition Space Wolves Codex does incorrectly state that the Battle of Dulan occurred during the Horus Heresy. This isn't true. This isn't the case. It happened during the Crusade. I didn't see that in no FAQ. We had to figure that out ourselves. Rules always get all the attention.
Yeah.
So the 8th edition Dark Angels Codex once again claims that Leman Russ was jealous of L. Johnson's victories. Stupid Dark Angels. And during the Great Crusade, it also notes that it's usually the company champion who is selected to fight as the Lion's proxy in their ritual duel with the Space Wolves. That book also throws a ton of shade. I'm going to read these two little sections from the 8th edition Dark Angels book. This is a quote from Lionel Johnson. Let me see if I can get a good Lionel Johnson voice. I can try get kind of a large feline, but also somewhat haughty and self-important.
The importance of a well-thought-out plan cannot be overstated. In this, I believe Gilliman and Dorn are correct. The better the plan, the better the assault. Yet, there comes a time when even the most well-thought-out strategy must be abandoned, and instead one must put faith in willpower and ferocity. Knowing when to forsake the reasoned approach is the difference between victory and defeat. It is a lesson some of my brothers, especially Russ, are yet to comprehend.
Let's see. Brother Chaplain Valifor.
Listen well, and chance for our great light to the darkness. It is the weak minded that crave comforts. The Dark Angels need them not. Wealth, the sons of the lion covet no baubles, for they are meaningless to us. Sensual gratification? We know well its transitory nature. Pride? We are no whelps of Russ. By our actions alone we shall be known.
There's a lot of that in there, where they're just like throwing casual shade at the Space Wolves the entire time. It's amazing.
Oh, there's so many jokes that could be made. I'm just going to leave them alone. So, it's interesting. I'm trying to remember which Dark Angels codexes I have besides the one on the 6th. I'll have to go through and look on my shelf again. So, in the 8th edition Space Wolves Codex, a short blurb in the timeline reveals that the ritual duel isn't always bloodless. Shocking. Okay, so hold on. Let me find my shocked face. I'm pretty sure I have it in one of these pockets. All right. So, at one such event, sometime between the First War for Armageddon and the Battle of Fenris, the two chapters came together in the Artemis system. During the ritual battle between the chapter champions, Ranulf the Strong accidentally killed Dark Angels champion Balthazar Zophon. The two forces immediately set to try to kill each other because, yeah, that's a great idea. Okay. All right. And then immediately prior to the fall of Cadia, the 13th Great Company returns in great numbers as harbingers of Magnus and the Thousand Sons. My boys. All right. With all of their demons and other cool stuff. And dust. They're jars of dust.
And a Primarch, so good for them.
Yeah, dust for the Dust Throne. Dirt for the, Dirt God. Okay. The Fenris system is beset by both the forces of the traitors and also the forces of the Imperium, who believe the Space Wolves to be untrustworthy, or perhaps.
Do you think that if somebody like an alien species showed up, like let's say the Necrons show up with a giant like this mass, like the Thousand Sons and the Space Wolves are fighting, right? They're shooting each other. They're casting magic at each other. A giant like dust storms have whipped up on the plains, and like the magical powers of Fenris are, creating huge deluges and tsunamis of snowy energy or whatever. And the Thousand Sons are shooting witch fire at them and but then they realize, oh no, this is a tomb world, and there's a giant freaking monolith comes floating from space. And it starts to transform into Mega Maid, and it's just this giant freaking vacuum cleaner. Do you think that both the Space Wolves and the Thousand Sons would say, you know what? We have to team up against this threat because it's the one thing that we both fear?
That's a good question.
I should ask a Black Library author.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Anyways, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I thought that was an important question. Like if the Necrons had a giant vacuum cleaner, if the Space Wolves and the Thousand Sons would be afraid of it.
I've got a jar of dirt. Okay, let's see. Where are we? So the Fenris system is beset by both forces of the traitors and also the forces of the Imperium, who believe the Space Wolves to be untrustworthy or perhaps fall into darkness. Along with them were the Dark Angels, thanks to the machinations of the Changeling. Thanks to the machinations of the Changeling who is aboard the Rock, the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels are set against each other once more. I actually went and bought the Changeling like a few months after this just because I loved the lore on that mini. I just thought it was so cool. Let me see, where was I? Oh yeah. The fleet bombards Midgardia and other Fenrisian worlds, killing millions. Were it not for the brother Captain Stern of the Grey Knights uncovering the demonic plot, a full-scale civil war might have erupted between the Wolves and the Dark Angels. So yeah, that's because we actually went over that book whenever it came out. That was Wrath of Magnus, and there was so much cool stuff in that book. So much. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool story. We covered it. We covered it in the past.
About 3 years ago.
A few years ago. I assume you can find those books fairly inexpensively on the internet because they can be shipped media mail. They shouldn't be. That's actually not media mail, but they're not gonna. The feds aren't going to track you down for that. And also the rules are totally useless to you right now. So I think you could find those. I've been trying to pick up some of these 7th and 8th edition and lore because the lore was heavy in those books. The new books, however, there's not a whole lot.
No, they aren't.
So it, in the Cadian War Zone against Abaddon, and later the Stygia sector in the Imperium Nihilus against Magnus, the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves fought kind of in the same theater of war. They didn't really interact a whole lot. It's tough. I think that I couldn't find anything in the new codex, the Dark Angels Codex, about them kind of working together beyond that. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe I'm not reading into it enough, but I can't really find it. I don't know. I hope that there's a bit more coming. We'll see if we do get into some of these hunts for the fallen that are happening in the galaxy right now, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah, that's about it. I really like the dichotomy between the two tellings of the story. This again, I think, really shows how the unreliable narrator can be used to create a fun tapestry of lore that may or may not have the complete truth. And it's impossible to know if there ever will be a complete truth. In this case, I have a feeling that the Space Wolves have a better grasp of the truth in this regard. I honestly think the Dark Angels don't think they did anything wrong, or their Primarch did anything wrong in that old story. I mean, to this day, they still don't tell everybody their whole plans. No. They go into a war zone, they do their own thing, and then they leave, right? That's kind of their MO.
What's interesting is that actually tracks back to some of the Crusade rules in lore. How they fought as the First Legion and how they fought after finding the lion. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, we won't go into this today, but there's doing some research for something else. I started noticing there's a lot of interesting lore in that new Crusade book, which I wonder if, they're thinking, well, some of these Dark Angels players, they're really, really into the chapter, into the Legion, probably own the Crusade book. So they may be skimping on some of that lore just because of that reason. So,
right. So for on your tabletop, you can bring some of this stuff to life. If you have a Dark Angels army and your friend has a Space Wolves army, or vice versa, you can use some of these ideas to create a fun narrative on your tabletop. Some of these events, even. So the old in 8th edition, we had a stratagem called the Lion and the Wolf. It was one command point. Use the stratagem before the battle if your army includes any Space Wolves infantry units. And this was in the Dark Angels Codex. So it's actually if you have both Dark Angels and Space Wolves. So it's a Dark Angel stratagem, but it's if you have Space Wolves. You choose one Dark Angels infantry and one Space Wolves infantry in your army, and you roll a dice for each model. On a 4+, that model suffers a mortal wound. Each model that survives then increases its strength, attacks, weapon skill, and leadership characteristics by 1.
Wow.
So you can only use this once per battle. So that's one of the fun things I was thinking about doing with my army. I have all these ideas for armies, like a sweet Ravenwing and Canis Wolfborn wolf detachment. That would have been really cool. Nothing stopping you from using. Yeah, and there's nothing stopping you from using this stratagem in your narrative games. We also have on page 55 of your Dark Angels hymnals a requisition called the Lion and the Wolf. 1 RP. Whenever the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves fight side by side, each nominates a champion to settle the ancient grudge between Lionel Johnson and Lehman Russ. The victor in these contests is afforded a great esteem. Purchase a requisition at any time. Select 1 Dark Angels Infantry or Dark Angels Biker model from your army that is not a character. Each model can only be selected for this requisition once. Add 1 to that model's attacks characteristic, and that model gains the following ability. So they get an attack, first of all, which is awesome. Victory over the Sons of the Wolf. Each time this model makes a melee attack against a Space Wolves unit, add 1 to the attack's hit roll and wound roll.
Wow.
So it's really good. It's really good. I would almost allow the 2 chapters to take minor relics and war gear from the opposing chapters as trophies of this duel. Like, if you have somebody in your group who's a Space Wolves player or a Dark Angels player, and you're running like a Crusade campaign, perhaps you could, even if you're not playing on the same battlefield in the same game, on club night, you could say, "Hey, we're fighting alongside each other. We should do, this ritual duel." I think that would be fun. But I would almost say that, they might trade relics as well. I remember there was somebody in an old white dwarf who made a Ravenwing force, and she put wolf tails on her Ravenwing bikes because they had taken them as trophies from skirmishes and duels with the Space Wolves.
That's actually really cool. That's
isn't that
flavorful.
neat? Isn't that neat? So I would look at some of these. I wouldn't go with like antiquity relics or legendary relics, but I would look at things like the Artificer relics or the what are they called? Special issue war gear, or even just kind of the minor upgrades to some of the units, and see about kind of sticking extra pieces to your army and using those in your Crusade games. I don't see why not. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun. I think it would also be fun to just do a Crusade force that's both Dark Angels and Space Wolves. I'm not sure how that would play out between between them. I think it would be a fun way to add kind of penalties to your army in sometimes, and kind of play out those penalties, work with your opponent to figure out what a good balancing factor might be for those penalties. Remember the old ally rules where they're kind of keeping one eye on each other and that sort of thing. And maybe sometimes the Dark Angels just disappear off the battlefield for no reason. It might be a good Crusade point reduction if you do use those rules. Like, oh yeah, it's like minus so many Crusade points because the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels aren't playing well together in their games.
Yeah, that'd be some good stuff. I mean, that's some really great ways to look putting that together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and sometimes, it's tough in general, it's just tough to have a couple chapters working together anyways, because you lose a lot of command benefits and stuff. You're spending a lot of command points to run those, or you're spending a lot of points to have the minimums for the detachments and all that stuff. So you're already at a disadvantage. So I don't think there's anything wrong with mixing in some interesting hybridization between the two armies anyways. So, okay. Why don't we take a break and come back. We're going to look at the Dark Angels on Crusade. We're going to do what we usually do and do like, we're each going to pick one thing under each heading that is our favorite that we think is most invokes the aesthetic of the Dark Angels, or that we just like. And we'll help you figure out how Dark Angels armies work in relation to their background on the tabletop. So we'll be right back. Potty break, I need to have a potty break. I gotta pee, I've had a coffee and some water and some coffee and then some coffee again. Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things, there's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So how do I get there?
Just go to that webway marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Aramon can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 hour a night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke ei bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer ei bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. Welcome back. So again, we're going to talk about the Crusade section and, well, also some of the lore change, just whatever, I wouldn't call them changes. Really, there's not a whole lot in here, to be perfectly honest, lore-wise. Mm-hmm. That's new, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. But I didn't really see anything that stood out to me anyways. Mm-hmm. Anyway, if you want to hear more about the Dark Angels lore, check out episode 76, Curse of the Wolfen. It's a big one. Episode 84, The Fall of Cadia.
Yep.
Episode 107, where we cover the 8th edition Dark Angels lore. And also we go into a bit of detail about the Angels of Absolution. Also, the recent episode 77 of Adeptus Terra podcast covers the Fallen. I thought we covered the Fallen, but I guess not.
Have we not?
Maybe we talked about them when we talked about Cypher in the episode on the Rise of the Primarch, because Cypher showed up there and helped. He was like the mysterious stranger who helped Guilliman escape in the hopes of getting near the Emperor. So anyways, the Adeptus Terra is covered that this week on episode 77.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to listen to that one yet. Also, Age of Darkness. They're doing an overview of the Crusade book, the book 9 of 30K of the Horse Heresy. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So it's they are, for those of you who know them, they do multi-part stuff. So it's like episodes 109, 110, 112, 113, which was the last one to be released. So maybe even 114 as well. And if you like Night Lords, there's some coverage on them as well, because that book does cover both. So I haven't listened to all these episodes yet, just because I haven't been doing a lot of podcast listening without my commute. So yeah. All right.
Yeah, fair enough. So the new the Dark Angels lore updates in this book are not extensive. Again, as far as I can tell, someone with a lot more in-depth knowledge of the Dark Angels lore might say, well, here's a little piece here, a little piece there that's different. But there is a lot of focus on Luther now. It really seems to me like Games Workshop is ramping up for a big Luther's doing something funky or doing something more in the lore than he was previously. If you recall, Luther did escape the rock. So, and he's kind of at large at the moment. So, I think maybe there's going to be a big, or at least they're setting themselves up to be able to do a big campaign with him.
That wouldn't surprise me. That would actually be really interesting. You know, I'd be interested.
Right. Yeah. He was missing when the Dark Angels, when Azrael came to his cell after Chaos attacked during the coming of the Noctis Eterna, like when the Cicatrix Maledictum was created. In fact, the attack on the rock was clearly a diversion to release Luther. Azrael had been keeping... Yeah?
For some reason, I keep thinking that Gav is writing a book on Luther, or wrote a book on Luther.
Yeah, I think so. And he did say that we were in for something very interesting coming up. So I definitely want to talk to him very soon about this. I was actually hoping to get him on. I was thinking about having him on for this episode, but it's, things are kind of progressing weirdly here, and getting time to carve out even to talk to somebody like that is tough.
It's difficult. Yeah. And I had a week without power, so haha.
Yeah, that wasn't great either. So Luther had been in charge of Azrael as had all the previous Grandmasters of the Dark Angels. He'd had him imprisoned and tortured for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of thought he was kind of crazy, like his mind, he was mentally broken from his ordeal with the lion. The fact that he had, at the last second, the demons, like the demonic powers, had taken away their influence because they thought it would be funny. Right? Like once Luther struck the lion down and mortally wounded him, the chaos powers said, hey, you know what? We're not going to influence you anymore. Why don't you feel what this makes you feel right now, like as a person? And he felt such deep remorse that the Space Marines figured he was totally broken. Right.
Right.
But Azrael's not sure. Like, so Luther had given clues over the years as to where the fallen were, where they had escaped to, or where they could possibly be, who they were, and like how they could be found and stuff. But Azrael's not sure whether Luther really had been a raving lunatic this whole time, or if he'd been playing a very long game with the Dark Angels. It's possible he learned more from 10,000 years with various Dark Angel grandmasters than the Dark Angels learned from him.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Many fallen have been reported in the Somnium Stars, which is a kind of this veiled region of space. First encountered by the Knights of Abhorrence, successor chapter, and it's clear that this is going to be the Dark Angels' next primary target. There's a nice full-page spread from Azrael's perspective, which is really good, and it gives you a lot more detail about how this. It kind of gives you lays out this whole situation with Luther, which is really good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
so we're going to go ahead and talk about the successors. And they're allowed to use almost all the rules in the book except for named characters and named relics. So unless they use the Honored by the Rock stratagem.
Yeah, it lets you take a relic from the rock. Yeah.
So what do you have, Adam?
We both picked an old one and a new one. The old one I picked were the Disciples of Caliban. I think these guys are really cool. They were raised in M37 at the actual specific request of the Grand Master at the time, which doesn't happen very much, if at all. Usually it's the Adeptus Terra is unilateral in there, they unilaterally create these successor chapters, by looking at what's needed and then using the gene seed, the tithes that they have at hand to create the things they need to get the work done of the Imperium. But yeah, the High Lords agreed to this. Actually, it's thought that the Grand Master at the time had some kind of interesting pull with some of the High Lords of Terra. So they're a fleet-based chapter with an extremely wide range of operation. They're all over the place, and they are 100% committed to hunting down the Fallen and Cypher specifically. They were featured in the Deathwatch RPG by Gav Thorpe in his novel, and also the Deathwatch RPG and Gav Thorpe's novel, The Unforgiven.
Mm-hmm.
The new chapter I picked are the Angels of Defiance. They're a new Ultima founding chapter, and they are presented with a quartered bone and black scheme. Black pauldrons and white hammers as a symbol. The chapter is known for their tenacity and endurance and earned many accolades during the Indomitus Crusade. They are kind of more reminiscent of, their mentality seems like they are classic Dark Angels instead of modern Dark Angels. It's and when you think about it, a lot of these Primaris Marines are themselves 8, 9, 10,000 years old because they were created by call during the heresy, or prior to the heresy, I guess. No, during.
Yeah.
After. Anyways, it's been a long time,
All
right?
the above.
All of the above, yeah. Call has been working on it for a very long time. We should go back to that episode and listen to it. And so they feel very traditional Dark Angels instead of super secret Dark Angels. Literally the opposite of the Disciples of Caliban. So I think maybe the Angels of Defiance should use a successor chapter tactics instead of the standard Dark Angels ones. There's one that gives them a 5+ ignore wounds, and also one that lets you ignore combat attrition tests.
Ooh.
I thought that would be more appropriate for this very stoic. They're actually kind of more Imperial Fisty than, not more Imperial Fisty, but they are less sneaky, More
I have to go back and look at
steadfast.
I have to go back and look at the Crusade book. There might actually be something that they're using for inspiration or whatever between the two. Yeah.
So one note about all these successors. So they do have their own kind of Ravenwing and Deathwing analogs. But in the successor chapters, they are not painted black and bone. They're painted in the chapter's colors. So they do have a inner circle, but they're. I think this is to ensure that, to keep up the facade that the successor chapters are independent and not governed by, they're not governed directly by the rock, even though they kind of are.
Yeah.
The inner circle is basically a lodge, a big, huge lodge it's just like this multi-tiered lodge, kind of, like, I don't know, like the Masons, they're like the Freemasons of the Space Marines. All right, Jason, which successors did you pick?
So I picked the first one I picked was an older one, the Consecrators, and I started reading their lore again because it had been a while. They're a mysterious chapter that appears and disappears from war zones without announcing their entrance or exit. This chapter does wield more ancient armor.
They're masters of the Irish goodbye.
Yes, actually, whenever I was writing that, I was thinking, Adam's going to make a comment about the Irish goodbye now. Yeah. I actually thought that when you said that, when I was typing that, I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, they just like show up and disappear and don't tell anyone they're there and don't tell anyone they leave. They just, they're there. What's interesting about them is they do wield more ancient armor, relics, weapons, and vehicles than most Dark Angel successors. It appears as though their chapter icon, which is a red-winged flame topped with a red iron halo, centered on a white background rondelle on a black ground. So I think I've got all that. Is similar to the Firewing icon from the Firewing of the 30K Dark Angels. For those of you with the Crusade book, that is page 105 in the Crusade rulebook. The icon also has similarities to the Host of Fire organization of the First Legion, which was previous to the Discovery of the Lion, which that's page 87 of that Crusade Black book. Yeah, so what happened originally today was I was going to go through and write all these notes, and all of a sudden I went down this rabbit hole of 30K stuff, and it was like, oh, I need to finish my notes. Anyways, the Consecrator's color scheme is a black power armor with a red stripe down the center of the helmet, with white icons and red lettering. They are known to wear crimson cloaks and tabards. Should expect older armor patterns and mixed patterns. Continuing on with the 30K stuff. So I went through, and after I did this, I reread the Crusade book a little bit more. And the original Firewing was, and I quote, the hidden blade of the Legion, the knife in the dark, and the blade against the throat of the foe's commanders. Within its ranks were found to be an eclectic mix of stalkers, champions, and Moritat killers. Man, after reading that, I kind of want to do like a Consecrator's force that has a lot of like Firewing insignia and whatnot, because that's kind of cool, to be honest.
It is cool.
Yeah, it also means that my wallet is kind of tearing up over on the table, All right, so that's the Consecrators, who I've always found to be one of the more interesting chapters because of their lore. Their paint scheme is but I mean it still goes back to the 30K black armor. So the new Primaris chapter, I love this one because of just the potential, and it's the Unnamed. That is their name, the Unnamed. When senior command elements of the Unnamed learn the Dark Angel secrets, they refuse to take a name for their chapter. Deeming themselves unworthy of name and chapter world, they are determined to sail the stars until all fallen are eradicated. Yellow power armor, kind of a Imperial Fist yellow, with gold and black accents. The chapter symbol is a feather pointed down and to the left, like the pinions down and to the left. Okay. What I found really cool about that piece of lore, because there's not much about them yet because they're new, that they didn't even name like the chapter master. They called it the senior command element, so they unnamed, meaning that they may not have any sort of identification at all. I don't know. I'd kind of like to see what they do with that chapter, if anything. I mean, this could be one of those. It's like here's something to go play with, but that could be an interesting study. So
I like those guys. You know, there's always there's nothing. You know, some people make fun of this is these guys but different. You know, there's nothing wrong with having, you know, a dichotomy in a traditionally a group that has a very traditional mindset.
Yeah.
Have somebody. It's okay to have a group of those guys that are somewhat different in some way. And in this chapter, kind of, they are not interested in the Dark Angels bullcrap.
Yeah.
You know, they're, and I think that's really cool. And I think it'd be really good, for telling a story on your tabletop, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's, you know, I think the Consecrators speak to me more, but after looking at that, I was just like, you know, that could be really fun army to play.
I think it would. I think it really would. So, those are the successor chapters that we decided to talk about. There's a lot more. Yes. The Dark Angels have long had lots of successor chapters. Again, keeping up appearances.
almost half of the ones listed, I think, or maybe not half, but over a quarter were new Primaris chapters. So they've got zero problems saying, "Hey, look at all these people we've got." That's
yeah. Then they need to do that. They, again, just like the Space Wolves, they need to ensure that there's as little suspicion as possible, because suspicion is rampant already.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the crunch here. First of all, let's talk about how you build a Dark Angels army and what it looks like before we actually dive into the Crusade stuff. All these new books have been created with a Combat Patrol box set.
Okay, yeah. I
have to say that I find the one for the Dark Angels to be kind of stupid. No, only for one thing.
Okay.
So
that Dreadnought?
With no. It comes with a Primaris Dreadnought, 5 Intercessors,
okay,
an upgrade sprue, so a sweet Dark Angels upgrade sprue, so you can doll up your sergeant pretty well. A Primaris Chaplain, which, yes.
Yeah.
But the big problem for me here are these Inceptors. Why are there Inceptors in the Dark Angels Getting Started box? I'm not saying that the Dark Angels can't have Inceptors, but if this is supposed to exemplify the Dark Angels, why wouldn't there be Terminators or at the very least Blade Guard veterans or something like that? Something, bikes.
I thought there was a Ravenwing box.
There is a Raven. Well, I don't know if there's a Primaris one.
Oh, okay.
Actually, there used to be a Ravenwing box. I don't know if there is anymore, but still, I feel like that those Inceptors are. I do not think they belong in this box.
They belong in like a Ravenwing box. Yeah.
Or like Dark Angels, or sorry, not Dark Angels.
Deathwing.
Blood Angels box.
Oh, Blood Angels. Yeah. Okay.
They would look good in a Blood Angels box, but here it just doesn't make any sense. anyways, yeah. Maybe aggressors would be a better, but there are aggressors in the Blood Angels one, I think. But if they'd swapped those, it would have been really good. Anyways, so the Dark Angels chapter tactic is Grim Resolve. This is in the Space Marines Codex. Mm-hmm. They get this, in a Dark Angels detachment. They get +1 to hit if they don't move. We talked about this before, actually.
Yeah.
+1 to hit if they don't move, and they auto pass their combat attrition tests.
That's cool.
Yes. And Ravenwing units get Jink. This is a special rule in this book. Yeah. Jink is you get a 5+ invuln if you move. You get a 4+ invuln if you advance. And there's shenanigan-y ways of advancing and shooting and stuff like that in this book as well.
I like that. So, I mean, I remember the old really rule from 7th edition, where you got the cover save, but then it was a -1 to shooting. But if you're on a bike, if you were on a bike, it didn't matter. So, yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, it's really good. I think it's not overpowered. Like bumping up your save would probably be very powerful.
Yeah.
Instead, if someone's shooting like plasma at you or whatever, you would have that invuln save. So that's really nice.
Yes, that is nice. I like that. I like that rule a lot for Ravenwing.
Yeah, and it makes sense for their what they do. They're just fast. Deathwing and the Inner Circle. So Inner Circle also include a bunch of Ravenwing and characters. Mm-hmm. They auto pass morale, and they can't fall back from fallen at all, unless they're a vehicle. And unless they pass a leadership test.
Right.
So, I'm sorry. I got that a little wrong. You can't fall back from fallen at all, period, unless it's a vehicle. You can't, and you can't fall back unless you pass a leadership test. So even if it's not a fallen, you need to pass a leadership test to be able to fall back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like Dark Angels, though. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And all attacks against the infantry of an Inner Circle or Deathwing, if they're so it's pretty much just the infantry and the characters, because bikes are not infantry. Fail to wound them. Wounds fail to wound. Hits fail to wound on a 1 or 2 or 3. And this is irrespective of any bonuses. If the dice roll is a natural 1, 2, or 3, it fails to wound, despite whatever bonuses you have to wound.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're very like the Deathwing are just this implacable force on the battlefield. And this is really good for characters too. Like characters can just get stuck in with things like demon princes. I'm not saying they won't care, but it'll be pretty tough to root them out. I don't know if from a narrative perspective, I'm not sure it's necessary to have this on all the characters and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that's a bit weird, but certainly the Deathwing, I think it makes sense. Terminator.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking they may be testing a rule for something else in the future.
Yeah, maybe.
I have an idea. All right. Anyway, rites of initiation. So add Deathwing keyword to a captain, a Primaris lieutenant with Storm Shield, a Dreadnought, Land Raider, Repulsor, Storm Raven, or any transport that can carry Terminators for either a certain number of points or +1 power. That's kind of cool.
Right. Yeah. So you can have Land Raiders that are just transporting normal guys. And usually they paint them green. You can also have a Deathwing Land Raider, and you'd pay points for it or +1 power.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty
that lets
cool.
Lets you include them in Deathwing specific detachments, which we're about to talk about now.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. right now, I'm sure Phil's loving this codex. Yeah. So all Deathwing Vanguard detachments. So Terminator squads get odd objectives secured. Yeah. Also, the command points for the detachment are refunded if your Warlord is in the detachment. So if your Warlord's Deathwing, yeah, buddy.
So your whole detachment needs to be Deathwing.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff, if you look through the Space Marines Codex, all the units that can be Deathwing have like allow you to give them the Deathwing keyword or the Deathwing ability. And then you can have these rites of initiation from this codex that let you upgrade guys to be Deathwing. So you can just have a single Vanguard detachment in your army and run a bunch of Terminators and a bunch of Land Raiders and a bunch of cool characters. All the Psychers and stuff are Deathwing technically. They're
oh really?
Yeah. They have like a lot of these guys have the Deathwing rule. So yeah, it's just so you can include them in those detachments. So that's really cool. Everybody loves the old Deathwing armies from 5th edition. It's definitely something that you should do from a lore perspective once in a while. It happens all the time. So it's good that the rules are even better for that now. Yeah, you could do it in 8th edition. There's nothing stopping you. But in this edition is awarding you for this kind of army creation. Long story short, you can do exactly the same thing with an all Ravenwing detachment.
That's just really cool. Well, I mean, considering that I still have that bike army, my Blood Ravens bike army, I could actually what am I talking about? Most of them were Dark Angels bikes.
Unlike the Deathwing, there was no need to do a rites of initiation for Ravenwing because all of those units, all the units that you would expect to be Ravenwing are marked Ravenwing. So it's totally fine. You have the airplanes, you have the speeders, you have the bikes and the bike characters and there's actually a speeder character that's still in the book. So that all works very well. So we also have some army-wide abilities. First of all, you can only have one Deathwing captain and one Ravenwing captain in your army.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. You can't just be loading up a detachment with a bunch of captains.
Yeah.
In Devastator Doctrine, Ravenwing add 3 to their movement. And they can shoot if they advance at a -1 to hit. Okay. So turn one, Ravenwing can advance like 21 inches and still shoot.
Good Lord. Okay.
And get a 4-up invuln save when they do it.
Yeah.
They're very fast. And that's like that initial lightning strike by the Ravenwing. So like when the Ravenwing and the Deathwing work together, the Ravenwing come in first and kind of case the joint and clear out an area for the Deathwing to teleport into.
Right.
That's definitely what's going on here from a lore perspective.
That is nuts.
In Tactical Doctrine, which comes next, that's when the Deathwing come in. The Deathwing have their own thing, so don't worry about them. But in Tactical Doctrine, non-Deathwing infantry can shoot while engaged in combat at a BS 5+. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So they're not allowed to fall back without making a leadership check, but that would be the Deathwing. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You're getting stuck in, you're just going to stay there and shoot anyways.
Yeah.
With your bolters.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to get stuck in with me? Okay, I will just continue to shoot you then.
Pew pew. Wow.
That's really cool, right?
Yeah.
Then when the assault doctrine comes along, Deathwing infantry and dreadnoughts reroll wound rolls versus characters and models with wounds characteristic of 8 or higher.
Oh, okay. So they're coming in after the HQs and the monsters.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep, coming after. Well, in there, they're going after the Fallen, right?
Yeah.
And there's some other like stratagems and stuff that help Deathwing take down monsters. Like they want you to be able to take an all Deathwing army but not be hampered in your ability to take out whatever enemies you might be fighting. But most especially things like demon princes and stuff that the Deathwing would be fighting from time to time.
Oh yeah.
Other dreadnoughts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, dreads as well.
Right. So there's a lot to remember especially for like a narrative gamer who might not have like this calculating mind that keeps track of all these things. You can always go to the back of the book where there is a really nice, there's like, it's the very last page too. So sometimes when you're looking for these weird indexes, they're not there. It's a reference. It's on page 80 of your hymnals, and it's got all of the detachment abilities and the hunting the fallen and sons of the light, et cetera, et cetera. It's all in there for you to use. So that's really nice.
That is nice. That is nice.
I think the other codexes had that too, so that's really good. Okay, so the part you would we'll get into that later. So let's switch to page
44.
44 of our hymnals. We are going to talk about our favorite stratagem that we found. Mine was Secret Agenda. Secret Agenda is a 1 CP stratagem, and I think it exemplifies the Dark Angels very well, and I think it's so cool. Use the stratagem after selecting a secondary objective or agenda, and see how they work it into both matched play and narrative play. But don't reveal your selections to your opponent, like what your secondary you keep your agendas and secondary objectives secret until you use them. So when you score it is when you reveal it.
Wow, that is Dark Angels.
How awesome is that?
That is so Dark Angels.
Yeah. I see you picked a specific Ravenwing one. I was hoping you would.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be, as we were going over these, I decided I would look more at the Ravenwing stuff just because.
Yeah. I went with the tricksy ones. I went with the tricksy stuff. I like it when we like go with a theme throughout our picking.
Yeah.
Kind of like we're kind of building an army as we go.
Well, yes.
So awesome.
That's what we end up doing, and then our wallets start crying. And
all right, what does the hunt do?
Okay, so the hunt. This is a 2 CP or 3 CP, so it's a little pricier. But after us talking about the rules for Ravenwing, so use the stratagem at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins. So I'm assuming in the command phase. Select one Ravenwing unit from your army. That unit can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase, but must end that move more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. If both players have units that can move before the first turn begins, the player who's taking the first turn moves their units first. If that unit contains 5 or fewer models, the stratagem costs 2 CP, otherwise it costs 3 CP. So you can get this unit you can move them a normal movement, and then what was the other thing? Then move it again and again? Where was it?
You can advance it. You can advance it with 3 extra inches.
Yeah.
And still shoot. So you basically can go anywhere on the battlefield.
Yeah, like I picked this just because it was Ravenwing. I hadn't had a chance to read through those things. Just like, man, they really did want to push the ability to basically say, oh, deployment zones? Yeah, that's a nice idea. I'll be in yours in a second.
Yeah. And the Ravenwing are kind of more sneaky. Even though they're on bikes, they're a little more sneaky than, say, the White Scars, right? They're not this big cavalry unit that comes in and whomps on you. They're a recon unit. So it makes sense that they would have the ability to kind of scout ahead.
Yeah. They're not going to
this is really cool.
at you. they're not going to come at you. You're going to see them behind your left shoulder going, hey, you got my stuff.
Bike. Yeah. Tell me about your friend. So, yeah, I like this. It happens before the first turn begins, but it happens after you figure out who goes first.
Yeah. Which
is really important for these scouting abilities. So if you know you're going first, you might as well scout right up in their face, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That is cool. I like it. It's good that you can only do it with one unit, though. So that's good.
Yeah, otherwise it could be brutal.
Ridiculous it would be ridiculous otherwise. So that's the 2 stratagems we picked. I think we picked very Dark Angels-y ones. And all of these stratagems, most of these stratagems are very on theme. Some of them feel more generic, but if you think about it, sometimes it's hard to come up with a nuanced way of doing something. Mm-hmm. And why be nuanced just for the sake of being nuanced? If you can represent something in a simple way, why not? Even if it is like +1 to hit. Yeah. Well, sometimes it is +1 to hit, right?
Well, what's fun is as I was reading through them, there's a stratagem to make your plasma better too.
Yeah.
Because that's Dark Angels also. Like there's a lot of really flavorful stuff in here. Mm-hmm. Well, in the stratagems, yeah.
For the Warlord trait, I picked Watched. Now there are specific Warlord traits for Ravenwing and Deathwing, which is really cool. So I picked the Deathwing one because I really liked it as a spooky noodle super secret one, not because it was Deathwing. Strange hooded creatures watch this warlord from afar and at times lend aid. Once per battle in your opponent's psychic phase, this warlord, you need to have a model for this, by the way. You need to have a little watcher in the dark standing on a hill watching. This warlord can attempt to resist 1 additional psychic power, even if it is not a psyker. And even if it is not within 24 inches of the enemy model manifesting that psychic power. When taking the Deny the Witch test, do not roll the dice. It is automatically passed. So once per battle, you just straight up say, no psychic power for you.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Although you do need to have a couple of the Watcher minis.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Must happen.
I'm sure if you looked in Star Wars, you can probably find some Jawa stuff. I don't know.
No, I think a couple of the Grandmaster Azrael comes with one at least.
He does.
I think there's a couple of them.
I've managed to pick up a couple from different areas. So yes. Just so y'all know, we chose Deathwing and Ravenwing, but Greenwing does have plenty of bunch. Yeah, they've got a bunch. Yeah. So I picked from the Ravenwing Master the Maneuver. Let me see. So the Warlord moves across the battlefield seamlessly to exploit opportunities to strike the foe, remaining composed. So this Warlord is eligible to either shoot or charge in a turn in which it fell back, which maybe that's not the strongest Warlord trait, but it does bring back the 7th edition kind of love that I had.
Yeah, drive-by attack.
Yeah, just get in there, smash, jump out, and charge someone else. That was something I really enjoyed about 7th edition with my bike army, which I realized was, at certain parts of the time was very overpowered, but that was fun. And so I think that should be the way this guy rolls as well. So
cool. Yeah. I think that's a fun one. So Dark Angels are allowed to pick from the Interromancy discipline. In addition, if you want to just take Space Marine ones, you can. But if your librarian takes any Interromancy powers, all of their powers have to be Interromancy.
Yeah.
I picked Engulfing Fear. The librarian I didn't know I was going to have to read this word. Inveigles?
Yeah, that's it. Wow, that is a tough
one.
Google.
Okay, Google. Why don't you listen to me? Okay, Google. What does the word "inveigles" mean? Persuade someone to do something by means of deception or flattery. Okay.
So what you're saying is that the Codex writers looked at the 7th grade reading targets and went, nah.
A lot of these are maledictions. There is a lot of messing with your opponent's models in this discipline, which there should absolutely be. This is exactly how Dark Angels should cast spells or use psychic powers. So it's Warp Charge 7. Pick an enemy unit. Until the start of your next psychic phase, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of models in that unit. So that's really, and there's some other like minus leadership stuff going on in this book too, which you might be able to manifest into some kind of strategy. I don't know, but at least it makes sense for the dark and mysterious and dour and taciturn Dark Angels. Super metal. Also, that unit can't use objective secured.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, it's not good. And if the result was equal to or greater than that unit's leadership characteristic, they may not perform actions. And if they are currently performing an action, it immediately fails.
Wow,
that power freaking rules.
Yeah, I think this might be the best power in this list.
Now the guys at the Forge the Narrative went over this from a more of a match play perspective, and I think I've missed it, but I think there might be a stratagem that does something similar. Read through your book and just see all of the shenanigans that exist in this book. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
So what did you pick?
So kind of looked over them, and the one that really jumped at me was Mindworm. It's not that powerful, but Mindworm has been one of the Dark Angels' specific what am I looking about? Psychic powers since I was introduced in like 7th edition. Like for some reason, I think it was actually a downloadable PDF or EPUB that had these. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong on that. So I thought, I'm going to take that one just for old time's sake, nostalgia. And
in 7th edition, all of the psychic powers were recreated in PDF.
Yeah,
because it still used the base, like some of the base rules. We still used all the units, but psychic powers changed completely from 5th edition to 6th edition.
Yeah, and man, I don't even want to talk about 6th edition psychic rules. That was I still have nightmares. All right, so anyways, Mindworm. The librarian burrows his consciousness into the screaming victim's brain, ripping free their secrets in a spray of gore. Yeah, that's what you want to talk to the kids about. Here's your bedtime story, kiddo. So, Malediction has a warp charge of 6. And if it's manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the psyker. That unit suffers 1 mortal wound. It's not too bad. It's kind of a smite. But until the next phase, or the start of the next psychic phase, in the fight phase, that unit is not eligible to fight until all other eligible units from your army have done so. So if you're wanting to go through and take out a character, or you're going after a very specific unit, and you know that you're going to charge them, this is a great way to stop them from doing anything. Take away that fighting.
I think whenever it says not eligible to fight until everything else is fought, I think that means even if this unit charges, they still don't get to go first. They still have to go last. And that's a super powerful thing in this edition. Oh, it really is. It really is. And there's a lot of like different wordings, like you may go first, or you may be, a lot of stuff is like you may this unit may be selected to go first, right?
Yeah.
To go before all other units. But these abilities literally say not eligible to be selected.
Yeah.
So even if it's not like pick all of the ones that say, you can't go first, and instead when they charge they go normal. No, they don't go normal. They still go last, even if they charge.
Yeah.
So it's a little confusing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Relics of the Rock. So these are the named relics.
Mm-hmm.
Reliquary of I stole the Reliquary of the Repentant from you, which is good because it's the coolest one.
It is.
You know what? I will switch to the Eye of the Unseen because that one is the Ravenwing one. So I will switch to the Eye of the Unseen. So
Eye of the Unseen's also could be used by Ravenwing.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was looking. So go ahead and take Reliquary of the Repentant because I do have some things to say about the relics.
The skull contained within this reliquary is that of a captured fallen psyker who repented his sins. Once he had been executed, the remains were mounted upon the bike of the Ravenwing Inner Circle member who had captured him. The power of the fallen lingers in the relic still, creating a disturbing aura that strikes at the minds of enemies and interferes with their shielding systems. This thing is so awesome. Basically,
I love this.
Enemies within 3 inches never have an invulnerable save better than a 5+.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
So if you have a Storm Shield, you have a 5+ invuln save. If you're a Demon Prince, if you're a Tzeentch Demon Prince or whatever, you have a 5+ invulnerable save.
Oh wow, that really does change that.
It just changes a lot of stuff for those characters. So that guy, that's a really cool relic, and it's a super metal description.
Yeah.
It's like, I tracked this psyker down and we killed him, and can I have his body parts to put on my bike? Okay. That's pretty metal. I like that.
I need a new mount for my headlights.
Yeah.
Wow, that got dark quick. Okay. I went with Eye of the Unseen. Let me see. This augmetic was first bequeathed to Interrogator Chaplain Enoch and has since been extracted and reimplanted into that is so disgusting. Sorry. And reimplanted into a string of Dark Angels heroes. It has been said that no secret can escape the gaze of the eye, nor guilt. Those fixed by the glowing lens have their deepest wants and fears laid bare, their every weakness exposed. They stagger and stumble beneath its gaze, and it is all they can do not to drop to their knees and confess all. Yeah. All right, so the bearer gains the following ability: Fear, an aura. While the enemy unit was within 6 inches of the bearer, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristics of the model in that unit.
So there's another -1 leadership ability.
Yeah, which can be pretty big, especially if you're working against a low leadership army. At the start of the fight phase, if an enemy character unit is within engagement range of the bearer, that unit is not eligible to fight until all other eligible units from the army have done so. So another one of those push them to the back of the melee. Yeah.
Oh.
This is interesting. A Ravenwing Talon Master is eligible to be given this relic even though it's a vehicle. That is interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because it's a guy on the vehicle, right? Like he's actually a guy there, and it's open topped, so he can look at you. So why not? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had some thoughts about. Go ahead.
I just saying I love that one. I think it's really fun.
I mean, one of the things that, like, there's a couple of really cool relics on here, but I don't know. I'm not as. Trying to think of how I can. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
There's a bunch of weapons, and weapons are. They need to give cool relic weapons if people want a cool relic weapons, and those are always usually kind of boring.
Yeah.
This one is better against Fallen and Heretics, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it's
like there's a really cool one called Shroud of Heroes, but I don't know that. Yeah.
I think we definitely picked the two best ones, the two coolest ones anyways.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, I don't know what's the most competitive ones, but I think we picked the two coolest ones for sure.
Yeah.
The special issue war gear, we're going to just glaze over this. You know, it has the generic ones, the adamantine mantle, interfisher armor, digital weapons. And there's also a few named ones or ones that are like the bolts of judgment, like is usually some kind of ammo in here. One thing I want to say about these special issue war gear, I don't think any of them should be unique. Yeah. Some of them are clearly like Atonement is a named relic. Yeah. I don't think special issue war gear should be a named relic. I think these should represent things that exist throughout all the successor chapters and all the different Dark Angels companies. Like there should be multiples of these. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be named relics, in my opinion. There are new secondary objectives, which is nice. We're going to skip over those. I mean, we only have so much time. Yeah. Okay, so we have all new Crusade rules. Now, all of the books have had a special rules system involved with Crusade. Mm-hmm. In this case, we have hunting the fallen. Every mission that you fight, you get one Unforgiven point. Yeah. You collect these Unforgiven points throughout your Crusade. You also can gain Unforgiven points by using agendas and some battle honors, and I think some of these relics and stuff too, actually, but I'm not 100% sure on my memory of that. So that's really neat. Once you reach 20, you're allowed to hunt the fallen. You're allowed to do a capture mission. You don't have to, but when you do, all of your Unforgiven points disappear and they're set to 0.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you have 40 Unforgiven points for whatever reason, they go to 0 when you attempt to capture the fallen.
So you need to do it immediately. Okay.
I would do it when it makes the most sense narratively. So if you're allowed to see what the mission is, you're allowed to see what the mission is before you do it. Mm-hmm. Also, if you're just doing it with your friend, you can say, hey, can we do this specific mission? Because I think it would work well with Capture the Fallen. Right? Yeah. So your opponent has to include a Fallen model, which you should have on hand. You should make a Fallen model for your friend to use. Let's see. Can't be set up as reinforcements or strategic reserves, so they have to put it on the battlefield. Right. You must elect the Capture the Fallen agenda on page 56. Jason, you want to tell us what that says?
All right. Let me see. Hold on. Where exactly? The Fallen. No, not. What am I looking for exactly? The capture mission?
Capture the Fallen agenda on page 56.
Hold on. Let me get to 56. We don't have pages here. Sorry. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves.
Fart box. Poop
no, let's
shoot.
not do that. No, I don't need to go through that. Okay, Capture the Fallen. The ultimate agenda of the Unforgiven chapters is the capture and execution of the Fallen. Only through this can they earn absolution, and within the inner circle, to seize one of these traitors is to earn much honor. So, keep a Capture the Fallen tally for each unit from your army. Add one to a unit's Capture the Fallen tally each time it destroys an enemy Fallen unit. Each unit gains 3 experience points for every mark on its Capture the Fallen tally. At the end of the battle, if any units from your army have a mark on their Capture the Fallen tally, your warlord gains 3 experience. Nice.
Yeah, so if you fight the Fallen, you're going to earn a lot of experience points.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a campaign where you're just fighting your buddy's Fallen army.
Yeah. Oh.
I would say if they have a Fallen army, I assume like later on when we get chaos stuff, there will be something for the Fallen, but if your buddy is playing a Fallen army, let them use this same agenda, except it's the same for killing Dark Angels or something.
Yeah.
Your opponent.
Or you could have them both be Dark Angels armies, and each one thinks the other's the Fallen. Ta-da! There we go.
So your opponent gets a free agenda.
Yeah.
In addition to the other ones they have. First of all, they get access to that captain model, or it could be a captain, a librarian, or a cipher. By the way.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then their agenda is assist the strangers. They don't even know who it is, right?
Right.
If the Fallen model is still on the battlefield at the end of the battle, your warlord gains 3 experience points, and your army gains 1 additional requisition point.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So you get something. You actually are encouraged to keep this model alive throughout the game.
Right. You don't leave it to die. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, Jason, we are going to go through and pick a requisition.
Okay.
I picked Interrogation. This is a really long one. I'm just going to kind of glaze over it here. You can use this. It's 0 RP, but if you destroy a Fallen unit, you can give an Interrogator Chaplain and or a Deathwing Librarian a free battle trait. And there's specific battle traits for this specific requisition, which is really, really neat. For example, one of the Interrogator Chaplain ones is they get 1 additional litany from the Litanies of Battle. The librarian is you can reroll deny the witch tests taken for this model. So like stuff that just cool stuff just for killing Fallen.
Mm-hmm. That is cool.
Which one did you pick?
I chose Inauguration. Just because one of the things I always find interesting about the Dark Angels is how you have these green wing, noobs essentially who get catapulted up into Deathwing and into Ravenwing and the Inner Circle because they just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like they happen to be there when there's a Fallen, someone's there. So purchase this requisition after a battle in which a Dark Angels unit from your army, excluding vehicle, character, and scout units, destroy a Fallen unit. That Dark Angels unit then gains the Inner Circle keyword, or you can remove that unit from your order of battle and replace it with one of the units specified below. So if it's a Primaris unit, you could replace it with an Outrider squad or a Blade Guard veteran squad, which could be real interesting real quick. Non-Primaris, maybe Attack Bike squad, a Bike squad, a Deathwing Terminator squad, Terminator Assault squad, Relic Terminator. So, there's ways to move them from being Green Wing to Ravenwing or to Deathwing. And really, that's what both of them are.
Yeah, that's literally what's happening there. I love it. It. And I also like the option of just giving them the Inner Circle keyword.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Like they're Inner Circle, but they're kind of undercover Inner Circle almost. And the Master of we're going to talk about this in a second. The Master of Watchers has eyes and ears all over, even among his own chapter.
Yeah.
So that's really neat.
And one cool thing about this, as I was reading it, is that the upgrade, the new unit starts with the same number of experience points as the unit replaced and gains the appropriate number of battle honors for its rank.
Yeah. It's the same unit. It's just changed its type. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, I would definitely go with the Blade Guard veteran squad if I was doing Deathwing. That'd be an immediate. That's not even a
Those are such beautiful models.
Yeah.
Anything to get Jason to buy new models to represent the same guy. Like we've done that multiple times.
Yeah, we have. Let's not talk about that. I'm looking at
How's he doing, by the way?
Which one?
Good point.
Yeah.
So for agendas, I picked Mental Interrogation because I think it's really neat. It's for the librarian. It lets them look into the minds of the people that they're fighting. It's a psychic action, a warp charge 4. Pick somebody within 12 inches. Now, these psychic actions, you're not as limited as regular actions. You can do most of them while you're within close range of your opponent and stuff. But it does replace all of your psychic powers when you do it. So it is a little tough. But they look into the minds of their foes. And it looks like you get 1 experience point for every mark on his mental interrogation tally. So for every time that he does it, he gets a mark. If your total of your all mental interrogation tallies is 4 or more, gain 3 Unforgiven points. If it's 8 or more, gain 6 Unforgiven points instead. So you're actually like plumbing the minds of your opponents, which is really cool for more information on the Fallen. Oh, I forgot to mention, if the psychic test is 11 or more, you add 3 to your interrogation tally. You really got a lot of good information that time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild.
What was yours, dude?
So I chose Encircle the Foe, the Ravenwing one. So the Ravenwing seek to encircle the foe, corralling them to ensure there can be no escape before summoning the Deathwing to deliver the killer blow. So at the end of the battle, you can select either 3 or 4 friendly Ravenwing units from your army, excluding aircraft. Each unit selected must be wholly within 9 inches of a different corner of the battlefield. Each of the selected units gains 2 experience points. I'm not sure that that's the most efficient agenda, but it definitely screams Ravenwing. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if you're doing like a battle, right? A game of 40K represents like a minute of fighting, something like that.
Yeah.
So what if you played a incursion game with just the Ravenwing portion of your army, representing them sweeping and clearing, creating a kill zone for the Deathwing, and then the next game you play another incursion game, but you just bring your Deathwing in.
Yeah.
And so like the 2 battles actually represent 1 battle. I think that might be, or like you leave the game state the way it is, like with all the units on the board, and then in game 2 you bring on the other 1,000 points 50 power as reserves or something like that for the second game.
I think that'd be better. I like that idea where it's expansion. Yeah.
Right. That'd be neat. Okay, so for the next thing, we're going to look at the honorifics. Again, these are things like Master of the Fleet and whatnot. I picked the Master of Watchers because it's the coolest one. This is a new-ish character called Lazarus. Is this for the Dark Angels? But you can just make somebody the Master of Watchers. It's no big deal. Anyway, they're the ones that maintain the Dark Angels information network. If this unit is part of your Crusade army, then after each battle, gain D3 Unforgiven points, because this character is so good at rooting out information and following evidence. They're really good hunters. So you just get through D3 Unforgiven points just for them being there.
I like that one quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I chose Master of the Ravenwing. And so it's going to be semi-L or biker captain, only. Once per battle, if the unit's on the field, when you use the Swift Strike stratagem, that stratagem costs 0 command points. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So again, I think it is interesting that someone gets to be the master of whatever, even though there's only one in the chapter. I like to think of it as this person is acting as, like, they're proxying for that person when they're not available, or they're not in the area, right? Like, they have the skills, they just don't have the rank, as it were. Okay. Last but not least, we have battle traits. Crusade relics.
Yep.
So not less, penultimate, but not least is
Getting
the
there.
honorific. Is the Crusade relics. I wanted to point out, so I chose this one because I wanted to point out that as usual, there's artificial relics, antiquity relics, and legendary relics. But also, in this one, they added sacred standards.
Yeah. I
actually don't have any of the other codexes. I'm not sure if this was something they had in the other books or not. But I think Dark Angels are kind of more, again, they're more deliberate chapter. So they're going to have these battle standards moving up the battlefield, taking territory and like claiming territory as their own as they inexorably march towards their goal. At least in the Green Wing, that is. Yeah. So I picked one of these standards. The Standard of Fortitude represents the unstoppable courage of the Dark Angels, inspires any nearby Dark Angel to press the attack, heedless of danger to themselves. The bearer gains the following ability: Standard of Fortitude Aura. In your shooting phase, while a friendly Dark Angels core unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, that unit is treated as having remained stationary.
Ooh.
So they can move and still get their cool chapter tactic.
Yeah.
That gives them the +1 to hit. That's really neat.
Yeah.
And good for, I would guess, good for heavy weapons as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is an ancient model that can have this, but also the Dark Angels have a lot of ancients. One of they have the Deathwing Ancient, which is just a Terminator with standard, basically a Terminator Ancient with the Deathwing rule. There's also a Ravenwing Ancient.
Yeah.
So you have a bike carrying a giant flag.
Yeah, I think that model was
reasons.
I think that's actually its own model. Like, there's actually a model. Well, there used to be a model for it.
Yeah, it's a big Ravenwing banner. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
So this army has a lot of battle standards that you can use because they're very traditional, very monastic, they're very Space Marine-y, Space Marines chapter.
Yeah.
Which one did you pick, Jason?
I went with the legendary relics. The Mantle of the Essential. So, this mantle was fashioned from the skin of a mighty beast of Caliban, slain by the lion himself. Kept in stasis and only removed in the direst need, only the greatest champions are granted the honor to wear it over their armor. In battle, this warrior is a beacon to those around him, reminding all of the savagery of lost Caliban. We won't talk about taxidermy issues. So, add one to the bearer's move, strength, toughness, wounds, and attack characteristics.
Good
so
Lord.
Automatically definitely an all-around buff. And then once per battle in your command phase, the bearer can use the following ability: Savagery of Caliban, which is an aura. So until the start of your next command phase, while a friendly Dark Angel's core unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. So you've got a nice little aura buff, and you already have some statistics buffs. But that's under legendary relics, which I'm trying to remember what all that meant. So
that means you are a BA.
Okay.
They have to be legendary rank. They have a lot of experience points.
Yeah. So that would be a good one because that's obviously going to be a unit of some sort that's probably already majorly buffed. So you're probably looking at, hopefully a captain or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So last but not least, battle traits. There's a bunch in here, which is good. Yes. And there's specific ones to the Ravenwing. There's specific ones to non-Deathwing and Inner Circle. Expert Hunter is the one I picked for the Inner Circle. The warrior excels at understanding the mindset of the fallen, appearing able to know their movements even before the foe does. So I picked another kind of like hunter type one. At the end of each battle, roll a d6, adding 2 to the result. If your opponent's army contained any fallen, on a 4+, the model gains 1 experience point, and you gain 1 Unforgiven point. So another great way of generating Unforgiven points.
Yeah. So I took. See, there's actually two. There's 2 Ravenwing.
Like charts. Aircraft and bikers.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I'm not sure. Like, I thought about taking Silver Talon from Ravenwing Aircraft because that's also a rank. But I decided to go ahead and go with Swift Reaction from the Biker or Land Speeders. These Swift Scouts are able to read enemy fire patterns and accurately predict where the enemy fire will fall next, definitely avoiding harm. So this unit is always treated as having advance for the purposes of the Jink ability. So they always have a 4-up invul.
That is cool as hell.
Yeah. I
love it.
Yeah. Yep. I know that people are talking about the Deathwing being a really tough army, but Ravenwing looks like it's, not messing around.
No, I think they're really good. And, it's probably, let's be honest, it's probably, if you have a mixture, you're probably doing really good, right? Because you can use this, the one really good stratagem for Deathwing and the one really good stratagem for Ravenwing, both in the same turn. And you get really good, like, efficiency of your second turn of fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Guess what? There's no name generator. For this book. I am so pissed off, Jason.
I'm not happy about it. I have my dice here. They're sitting here.
You have your dice ready. I had my dice ready. We're all ready to go. And there's no name generator.
Yep.
I don't know, Jason, I don't know about you, but I feel like I need to I think we all need to write a very strongly worded letter to Games Workshop and say, listen, people, listen to me. This is not what you do. Why would you do this to us?
Yeah.
Right? Well, I think they did an extremely good job with this. I think everything here really evokes the Dark Angels personality and translates it to the tabletop very well, in my opinion. I didn't really see a whole lot that I could complain about in that regard.
Yeah, same here. It's really flavorful. Super flavorful. And, Dark Angels players that are, long-term players are going to be really, I think they're going to be really happy with what they're seeing. I hope they will be. I don't know.
Right. I think we've got our answer. Go ahead and open to the name generating tables in Psychic Awakening.
Let me see. Hold on. Dark Angels.
Ritual of
Dark
the Damned.
Angels name generator. It is page 60.
Heck yeah!
Yeah,
Saved.
there we go.
Man, this episode would have just gone directly in the toilet if I couldn't generate a gosh darn name. I'll tell you what. All right, Jason,
Okay.
you go first. You go first.
All right, so give me 1 second. All right, let me get my 2 dice. All right. Let's say, all right. So it is D66, so I've got, it's an Adepticon dice, so that's 6. And 4, 64. Zophiel. Okay. Yeah, that's it. No, hold on. Sorry, not it. It was Eztrail. That's the first one. All right. The next one is 16. So I have Eztrail and Adelum.
Estriel Adelum.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one. All right, here's mine.
What you got?
The pigs are the 10s.
Okay.
And the lobster is the 1s. Here we go.
What? Okay.
25.
Alisari? Wait, 25? Sorry, Naman.
Naman. 21.
Okay, Naman, no second name. Oh.
I'm just Naman. So this guy has to take all of the stuff that makes you go last.
Yeah. Hold on. That's actually named after someone from the lore, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is a specific name. I think it was a scout. Oh, man. There's a Dark Angels player screaming at me, and I'm sorry. Yeah, it was anyway, yeah, that's actually a real name in the lore of the Dark Angels.
I just love that it's like, nah, man, really?
Yeah.
So, again, everybody, we'll be right back. We're going to come back and have our closing thoughts and close out this show.
Blood Ravens Chapter is a Facebook group set up and run by passionate fans of the mysterious Space Marine chapter. They have weekly features, regular competitions, and an encouraging community ethos designed to let people get the most from their hobby. Search for + Blood Ravens Chapter + on Facebook using the + symbol if you're a fan or collector of these heroes of the Imperium. Knowledge is power. Guard it well.
Hey mofos, are you looking for more Warhammer 40k video content? Well, the Scarred Cast posts regular battle reports as well as tactics and strategy videos. Be sure to check out all the cool hobby content for the avid tabletop wargamer. That's Scarred Cast, Skared on YouTube.
Oh, we've reached level 6. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you took that opportunity to write a strongly worded letter to Games Workshop about the lack of name generator in the Dark Angels Index. Again, I'm still very upset about this. It's frustrating to have to go searching through other books for this content.
Yeah.
How are new players supposed to know what to name their characters? The hell's wrong with you, Games Workshop?
And I only know that, Naman from, I'm pretty sure that was the guy's name from, what was that book? I'm actually remembering more about the book as we're sitting here talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, please join us in episode. Wait, has this been episode 160 this whole time?
Yeah, it's been. Yeah.
I definitely said it was episode 159.
Did you?
You know what, Jason? Here's what you need to do. You need to go back. I'm asking you, I know you don't like to do this all the time by my request, but what I want you to do is have a robot voice say episode, like a text to speech voice, say episode 160 when I say 159 in the beginning, like superimpose a like a monotone voice over mine. I think that would be really funny. And just leave this part in also.
Yeah.
So episode 161, we're going to have a Tyranids topic. But until then...
Play the game the way you want to.
Fart box.
Yeah, I might. I don't know. We'll see about that one.
We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge. And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
You can also contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor. Thanks again for listening.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.